After 1 year of ownership of my 2017 CB300F, I thought it was time to update what I think of the bike after over 5,500 kilometers of country roads and commuting to work. Well, the 2018 riding season is slowly coming to a close, and sadly winter is coming. I was a busy little beaver this year, adding on many little bits and pieces, customizing the bike to my needs and style. Now, I did a review of the bike after only 400 to 500 kilometers, and I think for the most part my thoughts haven't changed much, but I wanted to add some other things I didn't go over before, and with many more kilometers on the bike, I think I have a better perspective. The age-old question of what is enough? Why do we need more power? For safety or for fun? In the end, it will never be answered to the satisfaction of all. So for me, the city and country roads I ride, the CB300F has all the power necessary. I've never been in danger of not having enough power. I hear countless reasons though why you need more power, but for the way I ride, this bike has enough. If you're a very aggressive driver and you make a lot of last-minute moves, then this probably is not for you. Will it pull away with the snappier wrist? No. Would it be more fun to have more oomph? Oh yeah. And that's why I am thinking about a 500 or 650cc bike in the future. Well, we know it's not powerful, but how fast is it? What better way than a 0 to 100? And mind you, I'm not a skilled rider, and I kind of mess up the launch. And I can still do it in 9.5 seconds. But I'm pretty sure this bike can go a little faster than what I can do. Now the gearing I find is a little bit short, meaning I can just go through the gears like crazy even in the city, just to keep some fuel efficiency. So I can be easily in 6th gear traveling down a 60 to 70 kilometer road. And I just find it also just a small problem on the highway, especially if I'm thinking about any longer trips on the highway. Speaking of the highway, yes, it can safely do highway speeds. Yes, you'll be passed by everyone if you're not going 120 kilometers per hour. But I've taken a longer trip on the highway and it's felt pretty stable, even being passed by many cars and trucks. The main problem is that if you try to cruise at 120 kilometers per hour, your RPMs are around 75-ish RPMs, just under that. And the bike is quite loud and buzzy at that speed. If you think about it, the red line's around 10,500 RPM, so you're roughly at about 70% of its maximum. If you're doing this for hours, it really isn't at its most efficient. In the end, I tend to buzz it around 110 to 115, where the RPMs are around 6,500 to 7,000. It's still loud, but it's a tad better. In reality, the sweet spot is on the secondary roads, country roads, where you'll be more comfortable at 90 to 100 kilometers per hour, and the engine will be purring at 58 to 6,000 RPMs. I think that's where it's the most comfortable. Speaking of comfort, I'm about 6 feet tall with 32-inch inseam. My sitting position is pretty straight with a very slight forward lean, and my feet are able to go very flat on the ground. This is a bonus for riders in general, new riders especially, and their confidence. Now, I have a chronically bad back with some sciatic pain, but this has been quite nice, and other than really bumpy roads, I'm pretty good. On long rides, however, my ankles feel kind of cramped, and I have to keep trying to change my position of my feet, which isn't really great, but again, I've managed so far. For commutes, it's fine. I've done a 200-kilometer ride with no issues, and it's a pretty good material and fairly grippy on my riding jeans. So when I go, it's a big step down, so coming up the throttle's very good. There's always that step down, I think. I don't know if that's normal, but there it is. It's always a very jerky experience. Now, I've felt some slipping through the rear tire, especially when going through turns, and not really even that aggressively. kind of goes along with some of the reviews that I read online about the tire. So, not the best grip, but should last for quite a while. The brakes. Now, obviously, they're probably not the best set of brakes ever on a motorcycle, but they do the job for me. Some people have described them as too soft, they don't bite as hard. Might be fixed with some better brake pads, but so far they've been working fine for me, even when people pull out on me. And the bike has ABS standard in Canada, and thank goodness, because it can really save a new rider. Now, the way the bike handles is probably its strongest attribute. I still find it really nimble, and if I awkwardly stop or dip the nose in a low speed turn, I can put my foot down and save it from a fall because it's pretty light. And throwing this bike around here and there, it is pretty easy. The bike tends to go where you want it to, no big surprises, and again, because of its lightweight, if you do have a little bit of a misstep, especially when you're practicing some slow speeds or tight turns, again, at least I've been usually able to save it from any kind of a fall. It's tons of fun, and this is probably the thing I like most about this bike. An important question is, would I buy it again? And what's next? Tough questions because my thoughts about riding have evolved during this past year. At the beginning, I had an idea of what type of riding and style of bike was for me. Also, the lack of experience and fear of injury and death led me toward the CB300F. So yes, this was the perfect bike for me. It still is enough bike for the majority of my riding situations. I don't see a need for a really powerful bike, but a little more punch would be fun. I still have a healthy fear of injury and death, but with more experience under my belt, I'm gravitating towards a CB500X, an adventure-ish type bike. The main reason is it's still great for commuting, and it's got a little bit more power. It's more capable on the highways and for touring, which is something I may be into in the future. The other type is something like a Ducati Scrambler, which, wow, I just like the looks of. For now, I'll likely keep this for another year until I can make my decision. Knowing myself, I might just keep it for the next 10 years. Change is not something that comes easy for me. Thanks for watching, and ride safe.